Hey guys, this is House of Ramirez. Y'all already know what's up. We out here in Atlanta, the hot streets of Atlanta. You know, things are warming up. We're so excited. All this cold weather needs to go away. Does anybody feel me out there? Okay. So with me today, I had Jonothon from New York. Y'all already know how I feel about New York. Shout out New York. I was up there last year and it just really moved me. You know, the hustle and bustle, the love, all of it. You know, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I believe that New York or Atlanta would be your best bet. The people there are so kind in their own way. They're not like down south where we're just all over your face trying to kiss you, but they're kind. You know, they're very touching people, heartfelt people, kind people. So shout out to Jonothon and the whole New York City. Jonothon, for many people that don't know who you are, where you are from, can you please let our listeners, our readers, and our viewers know who you are?
Sure. So, my name's Jonothon Lyons. I'm originally from Arizona. I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona. I went to a performing arts high school. I went to college to study acting. And right after college, I moved to New York. So that was back in 2005. And I always wanted to be an actor. I was also, singer, dancer, like musical theater, all that stuff. But right at the end of college, I got really interested in like different types of theater, different types of performance. The kind of traditional, regular narrative acting wasn't particularly interesting to me at that time. So I found this like theatrical performance style. It has a bunch of, sometimes it's called visual theater, sometimes it's called physical theater. And my first professional job was with a company called Imago Theater from Portland, Oregon, in a show called Frogs. And the curtain opens and it's three performers dressed in as frogs. And it's like a big paper mache mask, these really extreme body positions. And so for 4 years, I trained with that company and learned this kind of fringe mask performance style, and then ended up making my own character that has just started going viral this year, called Buddy the Rat.
Yeah. And it's super awesome. You know, we all have music class, art class, theater class. But then we're pulled in different areas, and then the fact that you already knew what you wanted to do at a young age, it teaches us that we have to listen to that voice in our head that's saying, this is what's good for you. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to go into, you listen to that and, you're evolving, you're a successful entrepreneur. So I want to, tip my hat to you, all respect to you. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur, but we're seeing now more than ever that it's important to bet on yourself, invest in yourself and go with your gut feeling, go with what you want to do, not what you have to do. You're breaking the norm. And, when you end up learning what it is that you like to do, you can get paid to do what you love to do.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel very fortunate that I was raised by parents who gave us all total creative freedom. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and we never felt like there was a prescribed path or role for us to play. I mean, even going to college, we could go to college or not. It's like it was really just kind of open. My older brother was a rock musician for a long time in the Pacific Northwest, and now he runs a company. He still plays music, and he's a music manager. My sister is a dancer, and then she became a nurse 2 years ago. My little brother's a video editor, and I, having the freedom, I didn't have fear about like coming to New York in my early 20s and just hustling and making stuff happen. Now, over time, as I got older, it became less romantic to be like living with a bunch of roommates or scraping by. Or for a long time, I was even subletting. I would go on tour for 3-4 months with a company, and then I would come back and just like crash on a couch or find a thing. That doesn't hold up after a while. You want a home base, you want to live well and live a nice life. And I started to meet people too where I realized like, oh, it's okay to pursue your dreams and make money doing it, and not just make enough to get by, but like make a real living. And you look at most of your heroes are probably people that are great artists and really have like a good living coming in. You don't need to be extravagantly wealthy, but at least enough, because also that affords you the freedom to continue pursuing your art. In 2015, I kind of came up against a fiscal cliff. I had like invested, I kind of got into trouble using credit cards and just built a bunch of debt. And I realized, okay, I'm still not making any money. It was in pursuit of the kind of acting dream. I almost booked this $20,000 commercial, but I didn't. So suddenly I was just like strapped with all this debt. And it occurred to me that like, if I don't have a apartment to if I can't pay rent, then I don't get to pretend to be an artist even. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like you can't live on the street and really be creating the kind of thing you want to be creating as an artist. So that reality hit me, and I just started hustling, started working, like my first restaurant jobs. I just did that whole thing, and then found different ways to make money. This year, I started working as a handyman through TaskRabbit, because I do all these shelves you see in the background. I built all those myself and designed them, and then I had another property before Buddy the Rat called the Apple Boys. That's based on like the barbershop quartet concept. But I wrote a musical with this composer, and we would like do public performances. I was trying to get some social media traction with the group. There were some cool moments where we played big fundraisers, this and that, and the musical went over really well. We created an animated series for it that we're trying to pitch. And that's when I founded an LLC to manage the license for that. I started to understand a little more, like, okay, as a creative, I can also put on a businessman hat and kind of go to work with that, because that's what's going to really give me the opportunity to make more and better art in the future, and eventually hopefully get to a point where I can hire someone to manage those aspects and really be liberated to just wake up and focus on my art every day.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you 100% on that last note. I want to touch back on what you had mentioned. There is a point in our lives as entrepreneurs where we realize that in order for us to continue our passion, our purpose in life, the thing that drives us, to wake up every morning and do, we have to have some type of business for ourselves before we start capitalizing and monetizing off of what our purpose is. It's a very interesting journey. If we're just taught in school how to navigate this, I think it would be a little easier, but not even knowing and still navigating. And sometimes we are like the only one actually going out there and doing the entrepreneurship gig. It breaks the norm for our family, for our generation. And that alone is a drive. It's a push. You have to keep pushing yourself regardless of what obstacle is placed in front of you. There's always a way through it or around it. So it's a learning lesson. So that's awesome. But yeah, I think that Buddy the Rat, I actually came in contact with you and Buddy the Rat. It was some type of viral video that went on, and I was just like, what in the whole goddamn world is going on here? And then I realized that it was art. It wasn't somebody trying to prank on their friends. It was actually art. I saw Buddy the Rat going up, I think, the stairs of a Subway with a big large slice of pizza. And then I was just like, this is so neat. So I started Googling Buddy the Rat in New York, big rat, man wearing rat face. I wanted to know who this was. I was like, this is so talented, and I ended up finding you, and I was like, I have to interview him. But yeah, it's beautiful to put that art form into what really goes on in life. There's literally life in your act of being Buddy the Rat. There's art in that. There's life in that. And I think that at times when we get older, we tend to forget that, there are things that make us happy. There are things that we do. When we were young, I'm pretty sure I bet $10 that everybody cracked jokes, that everybody, like danced funny and made parents laugh or family laugh, So it's in us to do that, to be the life of the family, of the party, So I want to give you big kudos for actually, jumping into that field and bringing something to us so we can actually appreciate. I was just like, yo, that shit fire. I was like, that's
Thank
real
you.
cool. Yeah,
Thanks so
yeah.
much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's funny, in the very beginning when things were going viral, I was kind of looped in with like, right, the Instagram like pranksters, and this thing where it's just like, oh, and there was a little bit of negativity. Some of the articles were trying to pitch, and it felt false from the beginning too, because no one was
Mhm.
complaining, but they were like, what about people who hate what you're doing? I'm like, I don't know who you're talking to, but um and pretty quickly though, people picked up on the fact that it's not. I am an artist. Like, the thing I'm doing is actually part of a bigger performance art project called Commensal Mischief that I started conceiving of in the fall of 2019. And I wrote pages and pages for arts grant applications early last year, describing exactly what I'd be doing. I was like, I have this character. I'm going to go out in the street in public. I'm going to, interact with people. And ultimately, it's going to begin in New York, but then eventually I want to start traveling, doing it in different cities, or certainly around the country here, but also around the world, because my hypothesis, my instinct is that people all around the world are going to have very similar set of responses to it. It's going to be either fear, a genuine fear if they're surprised, or laughter, or total indifference, right? And the point of the art project is to demonstrate that people are all people. We're all one community, the entire globe. Like, this sense of difference, sense of inaccessibility to another culture is all an illusion. Like, yes, we dress different, we have different languages, we eat different foods, we might listen to different music, but we all feel the same few things. And the Buddy the Rat as a piece of performance art, I think works really well because all humans interact with rats all around the world. Rats are also extremely close to humans, so having like a rat-human mix is natural and also a little eerie. Um, and I do consider it performance art, every bit performance art, as what you might think of. You go into a museum and you see the artist, like, who's nude cutting their hair, or whatever we think of as performance art that's usually kind of difficult to comprehend. I think this is a little easier to get at. You see that it's happening, something's going on.
Mhm.
And then the sense of childlike play, you let a bunch of kids on a playground, like, they're going to pretend to be animals, they're going to pretend to fight, they're going to do. And now I'm out there. It's surprising to people because I'm like almost 40 years old. I'm a grown man, but this is what I want to be doing with my time. And I can move in a way that most adults haven't moved in 40, 30 years or something. They haven't crawled around. They haven't and then I'm meeting other artists. I work a lot with this dancer named Larry Smoove and another one named iLive. And they're great. They're light feet dancers from Brooklyn, but they do backflips, and they do these incredible like action moves and stage fake fights where it's like you think they're gonna hurt each other, but then they're just throwing backflips. And it's the same. I get together with them, and it just feels like when I was 10 years old, and you're just walking around the streets being goofy, climbing up a wall, climbing a tree. And yeah, I'm happy to hear that that's inspiring those feelings in other people, because I do think there's no reason as we get older why we can't maintain those valuable aspects of our kind of natural engagement with life in childhood.
Yes, I wanted to touch up on two things. I want to agree with you on all that because it's super awesome. And two things. So the LLC, I skipped over that, and not intentionally. I'm grasping the whole interview. This is phenomenal. The LLC, yes, 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 yes. People don't understand that as a business. Okay, so the government is a corporation. People don't see that, but it is a corporation. So, all they would honor really is contracts. You go into court, you sign something, and if it's not binding, they can't do anything. They have no jurisdiction to do anything. It's a business. So they
Yeah.
honor businesses, they promote businesses, business loans, business grants. So if you can see something that you feel like you want to do the rest of your life, and you see yourself doing it till the day you croak, then you go ahead and start a business and
Yeah.
financially become responsible, like we have done, to set it up. And if you don't know, there's resources out there. That's one of the things that House of Ramirez does help small owned businesses to do. But if you don't want to come to me, there's plenty of resources out there to learn how to do these things. But you need to be able, in order to properly file taxes and monetize off of everything, so you're not in arrears or in trouble with,
Yeah.
Uncle Sam, get the legal Secretary of State license, and then get an EIN with the IRS, get a bank account, so everything you make goes into your, and it's an easy process.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much. A lot of people don't know about it, and it's okay. But if you're listening, if you're seeing right now, or you're reading this, it's the time. Like, you have something you're selling out of your house, that's cool. Use what you got. Trust me, I'm a queen of that. Use what you
Yeah.
got until you could use something else. But you definitely, this is your sign. Get your LLC. Do what's right, because it's
Yeah.
only going to help you.
It does require, one thing I'll say though, it does require daily attention. I mean, you can't, it's not a thing you can just do and then let it sit on the back burner, because there are mountains of red tape and mountains of traps that you can fall into. And owning a business, having an LLC, your tax return is going to be twice. If you're hiring someone to do it, they will just charge you twice what they would to do your personal tax return. Yeah, what I would advise is, if you do start an LLC, like you just said, reach out to someone who knows what they're doing and pay really close attention. And don't stop paying attention. Like, just know what you have to do, and make sure you follow through. I have 2 wall calendars, annual wall calendars up on my wall, one for this year and one for next year. Mm-hmm. So as I see this year going by, I recognize that, like, okay, a year from now will be this time, because some people think like, oh, a year from now. You don't even think about a year from now, but businesses think about 5 years from now, because you how many times you're signing a 12-month contract on your subscription service, and it's like, okay, we'll update you. So now I can actually look and see, okay, March 1st of 2021 or 2022, I will have to do this thing. So, and it's like, it'll never be perfect. That's another thing. Like, don't be afraid of being imperfect, because you actually should expect yourself to be imperfect with everything. Bringing it back to art, it's the same thing. I see people, and I've been a victim of it too, like holding back on getting something out there because it doesn't feel ready. It's not quite perfect. It's like this, and it's a lot of that with like this character and this mask. There's things about it I still want to tweak and work. Like with that, I hate this. I think this is so ugly, the fabric I have. It's just, and it's hot glued on, and I know there's better ways to do it, but it's marginal and you don't really see it in the videos most of the time. And I know that it's like better to just keep going out and making stuff right now, and eventually I'll have a moment to like fix that thing, or get more comfortable with foam, or whatever needs to happen. And it's the same with running a business. I also would say, I have a story that really relates to all this too, so Buddy the Rat started going viral at the end of October, and I immediately dove into just making as much content as possibly could. I was out a lot, saying yes to collaborations, and my numbers and all the advice I got from agents and stuff was like, just focus on building your following. And I've gone from 300 TikTok followers in November, beginning first week of November, to 650,000 now, and Instagram is up to 68,000, and my YouTube also is growing 500 to 1,000 every day, which is amazing to me, and I want to focus more on that platform too. But I also haven't been working. I haven't been making money. I got one brand endorsement that was great, but and I'm on the TikTok Creator Fund, but that's a few $100s a month at most, so I'm nowhere near, and I'm still in debt. And about a month ago, I had phone call, I got to meet these venture capital people from San Francisco, who were fans of Buddy the Rat and fans of the shows. And I got a meeting with them. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to turn this into a company and then get an investment from them and I'll be good. I was like, the answer to my problems is 50 grand cash right now, And I met with them and it was such different advice than I was expecting. They were like, you don't want investment because that's dilutive income. That means you're accepting income in exchange for part of ownership of your thing. Whereas right now, she laid out there's like 6 avenues of income you could be going for. There's Cameo, which is this platform where you set a price and people pay for like a short video, custom video to be made. There's Patreon, which is another platform you ask people to pay, different tiers of membership, and it's just support for artists. There's like merch through Teespring, all this stuff. So I realized like, oh right, I'm not doing all that I can to simply monetize what I have now with this big following, because it's not selling out either. There's nothing phony about it. There's some percentage of those 600,000 people that are following my videos that might really enjoy a Buddy the Rat iPhone case, because they just like it might bring a lot of joy and it's worth the little bit of money. So that was amazing advice to get, and I went ahead with that. Today I launched my Patreon today. I started the Cameo last week, and I'm starting to promote more on my channels. I blew up all weekend. I spent adding new designs to the merch, to like the Buddy the Rat shop. And so there's a bunch of merch now, and I'm hopefully over the next couple of weeks, I'll have a little bit of income to float on until the bigger brand endorsement deals come and the, licensing opportunities and those kinds of things.
Yes. And I love it. Yeah. So I have a Patreon account, but I'm not using it. I just have it so I can go ahead and have my name. And that's also something that you have to take into consideration when you have a brand and you're a certain name all across the board. You have to make sure that even though you might not engage on a certain platform, you need to own that name. So then no one down the line has that name that you have, because you didn't think that you were going to use it. And now they're using that name to brand something else. So yeah, I really give you kudos to that. You definitely have to see the bigger picture. At the end, you want to monetize and capitalize off of what it is you do. That's just it. So yeah. People, guys, girls, anybody listening right now, he's right. Sometimes we're held back. Oh, something's not perfect, something's not just quite where I want it. I'm waiting on my product or my service to launch, because you're holding yourself back. Don't hold yourself back. Go ahead, launch the product, launch the service. There are many people out there that are willing to support you, that are willing to just have your back and are interested in what it is that you are doing. So yeah, don't hold back. Put your all into it and launch it. And slowly but surely, you'll go ahead and perfect it. So yeah, I think that that's awesome. And Jonothon, I have a sister. I'm pretty sure that there's also seamstress around you. I have a sister. She's a seamstress. She's on social media as If the Seam Fits. Nicole, if you're trying to put a different type of material back there, if you're trying to make something happen, there's always somebody out there. Just ask around, and people are willing to help. When other creatives are seeing other creators trying to be great, they are willing to help. You just got to ask. And I know that's not a problem. It's just I'm letting you know there's plenty of people out there wanting to help you get to the next level. There's so many levels to entrepreneurship. So yeah, but I want to tell people, if you have something that you're wanting to do since you were a child, more than likely that's what you should be doing as an adult. As an adult, we're placed in this norm, which really is not normal, but in this box, I call it. Go to work, pay bills, do this, and go back home, enjoy life in 2 days, and then go back working for somebody else during the week. And you do that for what, 30 years, 35 years, and then you get a certain check after that. And to me, it's mind blowing that people think it's okay. And if that's what you want, cool beans, but you have to go with the flow with what your mind and your body's telling you. Don't let this system, this box of the norm stop you from being great. We all, like you said, live life pretty much the same. We're born, we live life, and we die. And then in between that cycle, we have kids, we get married, we have dogs, whatever. We all live the same life. So when you were saying you want to travel, it's not just a US thing. People don't understand, when you're walking in your purpose, it's a worldwide thing. So when you're walking in your purpose, you realize, hey, how can I help? How can I do this for all communities all around the world? And we all go through life the same way. So we can relate. We can have that reaction, like you said, a normal reaction, just like somebody else across the world. We're just human, trying to live life, trying to refine it to be better individuals. So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, so I want to ask you. So you went ahead and told me that your parents allowed you to be this creative, free spirit, and it just helped you pave into the path that you're on now, right? But what was that turning point that you decided this is exactly what I want to do? Like you said, you went to college for it, then you went to Oregon for it, and then you went to New York. At what point, what was that pivotal moment where you were like, this is what I want to do full time?
I mean, that happened when I was 9 years old. I like acted in my first play, and I just knew that was the thing I wanted to be doing. And that's never changed. I mean, even now, it's like I'm doing Buddy the Rat. I'm embracing this position as a social media influencer, content creator. And there's all these avenues where this will grow to. But for me, it's still just a platform to break into mainstream entertainment and be an actor and writer and producer of film and television and professional theater. Like that's still ultimately what I want to have happen.
Yeah.
So, and that's really been my whole life. I mean, I wrote a play when I was 7 that won like a playwriting contest, and then I was acting my first play when I was 9. And it was community theater stuff, but in Arizona, so there was never anything professional until my 20s. But I don't know. I was lucky that I just had that. I just had the feeling. I knew that that's what it was, and I was in an environment where it was okay to decide and pursue that. And I never had any reason to question it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And where can we find your other endeavors that you're into? It's not just Buddy the Rat. We see how you moved into this character that's helping everybody just kind of take life a little lighter, helping us smile. Hey, I've seen certain individuals, they like jump up and they're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, totally. No, it's always funny to me. I've gotten a lot of gratitude like that too. I get messages from people that are like, "Thank you for doing this." And I was like, I didn't consider I was doing a service. The point is to make people smile. It's to bring happiness. It's to bridge connections. Like, and also if people are antagonized or don't like me, I leave them alone right away. Like, I'm not in any way looking to cause them distress. But in the beginning too, there was some debate about whether I changed my social media handles to become Buddy the Rat. Is it at Buddy the Rat? Is it this? And I chose not to. Like all my social handles are at Jonothon Lyons. It's the Jonothon Lyons Patreon. It's this because I do more than Buddy the Rat. There are other characters and other properties and other projects that are going to be coming out from me, and that's what I want. People who want to support me or join my community or join the journey, like it's really more about, yes, this is one really cool thing, but there's other stuff that's going to happen that we can kind of create together. And I have a website, jonothonlyons.com. That's a good central hub. My link tree is linked in most of my socials. Instagram and TikTok and YouTube are the main ones right now.
Yeah, love it. But you spell your name differently than so can you spell it out for everybody listening, please?
Yeah, so it's Jonothon with only O's. There's no A's in it. It goes Jonothon. And that's exactly whenever I'm on the phone with people telling them my name, like on the bank or on the this, I'm like, it's Jonothon Lyons, Jono, because I know they're writing an A, and then also computers are constantly auto-correcting it. So I just have to be, and you got to be conscientious. And then Lyons, Lyons. So if you see 4 O's, then you've spelled it correctly.
Yeah, you struck gold.
Yep.
Well, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing. Everybody listening, everybody viewing, people reading this, please make sure that you follow Jonothon. He's a highly talented artist. He's heavy into the community, helping everybody have, a better day. That's essentially what he's doing. He's putting his art, his love for art into creating content for us to smile, to feel a little lighter. Right now it's not easy for anybody. We're all going through COVID one way or another, but we're going through it, right? So just follow Jonothon. He's on all social media platforms. He also has a Patreon account. He has the Twitter, the all of them, Instagram. Do you have Facebook as well?
I'm on Facebook. There's a Buddy the Rat Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'm going to start live streaming video games on there too, playing Oculus like VR games.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so just keep up the great work, Jonothon. I do want to ask you, is there any great pieces of advice that you have for our entrepreneurs? And typically I would say our young entrepreneurs. But entrepreneurs nowadays, there's a lot of people that are being let go from their jobs and they're trying to figure out what to do, and they're starting their own businesses too. So, entrepreneurship comes in all sizes and all ages. So what great pieces of advice do you have for everyone, including myself? So I'm listening.
Yeah. If I could have avoided debt, I would have. Like avoiding debt, it's called solvency. Being solvent in everything you do it's extremely powerful because it just gives you freedom. And for me, there's also another term. I actually joined a program to deal with debting because it's an emotional thing too. And I learned the term under earning, and I identify as an under earner, where it's like you're qualified to be you could be making a lot of money in some avenue. And yes, I've sacrificed the traditional, corporate life to be an artist, but that doesn't mean I only need to be scraping by on a few $100s a week. Like I can get up, like I finally started doing handyman work or handiwork, where I can charge $60 an hour, to hang TVs, and it's valuable. It's worth it to people. They don't own the tools. They don't know how to do it safely. And suddenly I'm like making more than I made as a waiter doing, on my own hours. I can come and go from it. So there's like, yes, pursue your artistic creative vision. Just try to avoid the debt trap if at all possible. Like make enough money or find people to support you in order to have the freedom to make the things that you want to make, because otherwise you'll hit a wall eventually where you have to stop being an artist. That's what happened to me in 2015. I had a manager for a year. I was auditioning for big TV shows. It was really like momentum going, but because I had so many bills from debt, I had to work as a waiter 60 hours a week for 3 months straight. And I had to tell my manager, like, I can't go to an audition. I can't afford the afternoon off from work. So you just be careful. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I would advise that as well. I definitely would tell people, be smart in what you're doing, but I call it a village. Make sure you have a village of people that are like-minded and are supporting you in what you're doing. So I tell people all the time, you have the vision, but people have sight. So if you see something that you want to do, it's non-tangible at the moment. Some people can't comprehend that that's actually something that you can acquire down the road. So, try to navigate through other people's opinions. Make sure you stick to people that are close to you and support you and everything that you got going on. And like you mentioned, be financially smart. um it's a learning lesson when we're doing it on our own, and we really weren't taught entrepreneurship. So it just ties back into learning as we go. And just be smart. So yeah, I think that that's sound advice. Yeah, you just your whole self is awesome. It's motivating to all of us. So where can we go, referring back to the shelves, because I did see those shelves. Anybody looking
Yeah.
at this, not hearing or reading this, yeah, those are some pretty bomb ass shelves. So haha to you guys who aren't watching this video. Yeah.
It's another business I'm trying to start called Lyons Hard Goods, where I make shelves, and I also make like hook racks and things. It's now obviously Buddy the Rat has taken precedent, but it's still something I want to do. I enjoy doing it. And at some point I will launch probably an Etsy shop to start with, where I at least sell basic, because I like doing it. I just need access to like a wood shop and stuff. All these I built in my apartment or out on the street, and like staining wood on the street, letting it dry during the day and bringing it in. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, everybody, make sure to go ahead and shout out, and also look into what Jonathan's doing. He's a man of many hats. So I want to thank you. But before I let you go, I always do a House of Ramirez shout out. So, just like right now, the spotlight's on you, and we're learning about what you're doing. Now is the time to put the spotlight on people that are in your corner, that have been backing you up, that are supporting you full force. Let me know, who are your shout outs?
yeah, sure. So well, on the social media front, some of the big major collaborators, a guy named Larry Smooth at Larry Smooth, and at iLive, that's I_LYVE. They're those amazing dancers who do backflips and stuff, and they've been really always showing up for me and working together in a really amazing positive attitude. A guy named at Keen Kwan, at Keen Kwan Creates. He's another one's a photographer, really talented. At Mr. NYC Subway, he did a piece with me at the end of November that really blew up on his platform and brought me a lot of followers, and also just calling in and checking in with me and saying, like, if you need advice, let me know. And then in my general career, I always talk about Imago Theater, the creators, the people that taught me this style of work. I never would have known had I not been hired by that company. And then I was able to ask too, like, hey, I want to make a mask. How do I make it? They tell me exactly what to do. Go get this kind of clay. Go do this. And then Basil Twist is this amazing puppet artist in New York, and I've been a close collaborator with him for almost 10 years and performed in 5 of his shows. And he's, even 11 years ago when I made the first rat mask, I was like, I want the eyes to blink. And he was like, oh yeah, this is what you need to do. You get a sphere and you paint one side brown and one side black, and you rig it in this way. So I've had access to the knowledge that it takes. I didn't just wake up one day and like, I could make this. Like, there's 20 people I talked to and learned what they had learned from either someone else or through their own discoveries. So yeah, those are the big ones that come up right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's always important to understand that it's a journey. It's a steps. There's levels. Shout out Anna Nayakana. Me and her just spoke about this. There's levels, to entrepreneurship. You can't skip level 1 through 10 and get to 11. You have to go through all 1 through 10 to get to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's big. I mean, can we go ahead? I brought my mask. Can we go ahead and see Buddy the Rat?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my mask. Let's see.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take my headphones off for a second.
Okay. So this is my House of Ramirez mask.
There we go.
Yeah, that's dope. That's super dope. Yeah, thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you. Let me go ahead and take my House of Ramirez mask off. You're no longer in character. Hold on 1 second. Aha. And here I am.
Perfect.
So yeah, I just want to thank you for that. That's super awesome. I don't want to take up much more of your time. I appreciate your time just coming on to House of Ramirez. It's extremely, how would I say, you're pushing us to tap into our childhood, pushing us to tap into our purpose. So thank you for that. Thank you for everything that you're doing. When you have something new that you want to go ahead and bring back onto the platform and let others know, let me know. We're here.
For sure, I will do. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's perfect time too, because I'm hoping people come find me in all the new platforms I just launched. So
nice. All right. Well, until next time, thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Make sure to follow House of Ramirez on all social media platforms.